The man didn't believe in ghosts, so he rented a haunted house where someone had died. Little did he know on the first night, a female ghost crawled out of the TV. She slowly moved behind him, whispering in his ear, "Aren't you looking for me? I'm here now." After saying this, the ghost tried to drag him into the TV to join her. The man was startled. He threw a punch at the ghost's face. Then enraged he pointed at her and shouted, "Why aren't you leaving? If you can crawl out of my TV, fine. If the TV breaks, you better stay and serve me instead of leaving." The ghost, angered by the insult, was further enraged. "I'm a ghost, damn it. How dare you insult me?" She was furious, opened her huge mouth, and bit off the man's head. Just before he died, the man still managed to flip her the bird. "Tell her she can't come back unless she pays for the TV." The ghost angrily turned her head away. Though she had eaten him, she still felt she had lost. So the ghost returned to the TV and cursed him. "Next life you'll live in a world full of vengeful spirits. That'll teach you to control that foul mouth." To her surprise, the curse came true. The man really found himself in a world full of vengeful spirits. When he opened his eyes again, he saw a white-haired loli giving him CPR. He was immediately confused, not sure what had happened. Wasn't he just struggling with the ghost? How did the ghost turn into a cute girl? Seeing the white-haired loli lean in for a kiss, the man immediately pushed her away. He pointed at her and yelled, thinking this was the same ghost, trying to deceive him. "Don't think you can fool me. Take this punch." Though the white-haired loli didn't understand his words. Seeing him awake, she excitedly threw herself into his arms and began to cry. "You're not dead. Huo Zhijun, you're really not dead, that's great." The man heard this name, and when he saw his reflection in the water, a flood of unfamiliar memories rushed into his mind. It turned out that after he was killed by the ghost, he had crossed into the body of someone named Huo Zhijun. The original owner had been able to see ghosts since childhood, living in fear every day. Eventually on his 16th birthday he chose to commit suicide. The white-haired loli was the original owner's class monitor. She had seen the original owner's farewell message online, which is why she found his house. The man had unexpectedly crossed into this body. After receiving these memories, he quickly checked his pants, relieved to find everything still intact. He sighed in relief. Perhaps his crossing was meant to save this life. Maybe he was the one who could save this troubled soul. At this moment he looked at the white-haired loli in front of him. She had actually come to him willingly. Well, he wasn't going to hold back. So he threw himself into the white-haired loli's arms seeking comfort. "I'm just a weak, useless person. I love supernatural stories. I'm the trash who believes in ghosts. I couldn't even kill myself properly. I even thought of dying in the bathtub, what an idiot. That's why I didn't die. Thinking of suicide over such small things. I'm really garbage, though I'm calling myself useless." Deep inside I'm feeling ecstatic, feeling the white-haired loli's gentle touch. The man was overwhelmed with tears of joy. After being single for 20 years, he finally felt the warmth of a beautiful girl's embrace. This feeling is truly comforting. Absolutely blissful. "Alright Huo Zhijun, if you ever have any worries, you can tell me. I'll try my best to help you. Don't go to extremes. Stay strong." But the man wasn't listening. He just kept muttering about how soft she was. This left the white-haired loli confused. She asked him what's so soft. The man was suddenly startled, breaking into a cold sweat. He realized he had said the wrong thing. So he used it being dark as an excuse to send the white-haired loli home. He quickly changed the subject. Then the man hurried with the white-haired loli to her home. On the way he saw various strange monsters. There were even people defecating in the streets. Unable to hold back, he pointed at them and yelled, "Why are you defecating in the streets in the middle of the night without cleaning up after yourselves?" This confused the white-haired loli, because in her eyes the street was spotless, and there was nothing like what the man described. She thought the man had a cleanliness obsession and didn't pay much attention. The man was shocked. He didn't expect someone as excellent as Asakawa Michiko to be so used to such a filthy, chaotic environment. In fact, the world they saw was completely different. It was two entirely different worlds. He touched his chin and looked down, thinking it was mucus. He suddenly became furious. He pointed at the sky and cursed. Unbeknownst to him, his cursing attracted a female ghost. After they left, a pair of white silk-clad legs dangled from a tree nearby. The legs were dripping with some unknown liquid. There was a busty woman sitting on the branch. He licked his lips, gazing at the departing man. Just when she was low on yin energy, she had a delicious opportunity right in front of her. The girl was delighted with this tasty yang energy. But unexpectedly the man took the initiative. He reversed the situation and pinned her to the bed, sucking away. It turned out the man had been too hot while sleeping, and mistook the female ghost for iced tea. So the man pinned the female ghost to the bed and started to drink. The female ghost felt like she was melting from the experience, because it felt too good and comfortable. The female ghost, losing so much yin energy, wasn't angry. Instead, she was conquered by the man. So she unilaterally acknowledged the man as her master. From then on, the female ghost clung to him. Every night she would lie on the man's chest. This made the man feel drained when he woke up each morning. He even had to wear a maid outfit and take care of her regularly. He would even pour her a cup of red tea. Then, to the man's shock, she placed the black tea on her foot, then used her ice powers. Just like that, a cup of iced tea was made. "Master, here's the iced tea you asked for last night. Please enjoy it quickly." This infuriated Huo Zhijun. Not only was his morning disturbed, but now he was expected to drink tea from her foot. But as he spoke, he suddenly realized something was wrong. He grabbed the ghost girl's collar, demanding to know how she got into his room. The ghost girl broke into a cold sweat, hurriedly explaining it was all a misunderstanding. She said she had come seeking his protection, but before she could finish, the man began to beat her up. He thought she was a thief, and accused her of playing tricks on him. As a single man for 20 years, he believed she had ill intentions. Indeed, perverts come in all forms, even as female ghosts. After the beating, Huo Zhijun dragged the ghost girl out. He planned to hand her over to the police, but just as they stepped outside, someone aimed at them from a rooftop across the street. Terrified, Huo Zhijun dropped to his knees in a cold sweat, shouting that he was innocent. "Please don't shoot." The two people aiming were confused, unable to understand his words. They realized he was speaking Chinese. They asked if he could speak Japanese. Only then did Huo Zhijun realize he had accidentally spoken his native tongue. He quickly switched to Japanese, and grabbed the snow woman beside him. He told them this perverted ghost had snuck into his home, and tried to harm him. Now he had subdued her here. The two on the rooftop broke into a cold sweat. Upon recognizing the ghost as the infamous snow woman, it turned out they were agents from the Paranormal Investigation Bureau, specializing in handling supernatural events, and capturing dangerous ghosts that escaped from the spirit world. The snow woman was the ghost they had been chasing for 3 days and nights. Now that she reappeared, they couldn't let her escape again. Kamishiro Miyako teleported next to Huo Zhijun using sorcery. At this moment, the snow woman realized, and grabbed an enormous ice pillar from 1982 ready to smash them. "I thought you were someone as noble as Lord Ibaraki Doji. Turns out you're one of them. Traitor of the spirit world, prepare to die." But before she could attack, Huo Zhijun punched her, sending her flying. With a loud bang, the snow woman was knocked back. She landed at Kamishiro Miyako's feet. After doing this, Huo Zhijun turned and walked away without looking back. Kamishiro Miyako was left stunned, her eyes filled with admiration. They had been chasing the snow woman for 3 days and nights without success. And yet he subdued her with a single punch. Could he be a hidden master from the east? When she snapped back to reality, she realized Huo Zhijun had already vanished. Huo Zhijun, however, was frantically running away, afraid the two crazy Japanese officers might chase him with guns. As he ran, he kept yelling curses back at them. But because he wasn't looking ahead, he ran straight into something soft. With a thud, he fell to the ground. When he looked up, he saw it was the class president, and she was wearing a bunny costume. This sight made his nose bleed uncontrollably. "Running around in public dressed like this? I'm falling deeper in love with this country." The class president quickly explained that her part-time job had a bunny girl theme event. She wanted to use her lunch break to bring him some food, hoping he wouldn't do anything foolish again. As she took out the bag, it suddenly tore open, and the sandwiches fell onto her black stockings. She was about to get another one, but a starving and dizzy Huo Zhijun grabbed the sandwich and stuffed it into his mouth without a second thought. But halfway through eating, he realized there was a black stocking in his mouth. He felt nauseous. Why does even a sandwich have so much unnecessary packaging? "Japan, you're incredible." After he finished the sandwich, the class president told him, "Go home early tonight. It's the night parade of 100 demons." But Huo Zhijun didn't believe her. Instead, he shouted loudly, "If there really are ghosts, come out and face me." As soon as he said that, the distant light bulbs flickered out. The sun was obscured by a solar eclipse. In the distance, a shadow began singing a nursery rhyme. "Camera, telegraph, lightning rod, big brother, will you play with me?" A girl in red appeared, tilting her head, staring at them eerily. The class president was terrified, and hugged him tightly. Huo Zhijun almost suffocated from lack of air. Fortunately, he managed to push her away. At that moment, the girl's head suddenly rolled off her neck, rolling to a stop at his feet. With a smile, she said, "Big brother, could you pick up my ball for me?" The ghost girl had intended to scare him, deliberately twisting her neck and rolling her head to his feet. But unexpectedly, the man didn't react as expected. The ghost girl panicked and tried to grab it back, but the man stomped it flat. Frustrated, the ghost girl resorted to seduction. She possessed the beautiful class president. Then she suddenly hugged Huo Zhijun, acting coquettishly toward him, even rubbing against him flirtatiously. She seemed to be burned by his high body temperature. Seeing the class president's infatuated expression, Huo Zhijun assumed she was on her period. He panicked, asking her if she had brought sanitary pads. The ghost girl clarified she wasn't on her period. Don't move now, just let me hold you like this. Coincidentally, Kamishiro Miyako arrived at that moment, and mistook Huo Zhijun for a male ghost. She thought he was draining the class president's life force. Furious, she shouted, "Let go of that girl." She grabbed a talisman and jumped toward him. She pushed the ghost girl behind her, and slapped the talisman onto Huo Zhijun. This annoyed Huo Zhijun. He asked her angrily, "What are you doing?" Kamishiro Miyako froze, realizing she had made a mistake. If the negative energy wasn't coming from him, then that meant, just as she realized this, the ghost girl grabbed her. "Little girl, do you want to share the fun too?" This frightened Kamishiro Miyako, making her swallow nervously. She threw the talisman onto the ground. It instantly emitted a blinding light. Then the talisman exploded, blasting all three of them to the ground. Kamishiro Miyako used her tool to bind the ghost girl, and slapped another talisman onto her forehead. This successfully suppressed the ghost in the class president's body. Completely unaware of what had happened, Huo Zhijun grabbed Kamishiro Miyako by the head, and questioned her angrily, "What the hell are you doing? Why did you tie up the class president? She just has menstrual cramps." Kamishiro Miyako, now annoyed, puffed up with anger and said, "I think you might have some spiritual power. Can't you tell she was possessed by an evil spirit? Help me out. Carry her to the Special Investigation Bureau. I'll find someone to exorcise the spirit." But Huo Zhijun didn't understand any of this. He refused to let her take the class president. Instead, he picked up the class president and walked away. He thought Kamishiro Miyako was insane. There's no such thing as ghosts in this world. All the talk about the night parade of 100 demons is just scaring yourself. Look over there. There's a young lady taking a stroll, and nothing's happening to her. Hearing this, Kamishiro Miyako turned to look. Her pupils shrank in shock. The figure wasn't a person at all. It was an incredibly powerful, vengeful ghost. A ghost of godlike rank. Just one glance made Kamishiro Miyako break into a cold sweat. Her entire body trembled uncontrollably. She had only one thought: to leave quietly without alerting the ghost. But Huo Zhijun called out to the ghost, "Hey young lady, why aren't you heading home so late at night? Want to come to my place? My bed is big and soft." Kamishiro Miyako was dumbfounded. "What are you doing? Why aren't you scared at all?" "Scared of what? If you're scared, just get lost. Nobody's stopping you." As he finished speaking, Kamishiro Miyako looked at him with admiration. Could he really have some hidden power? Just like when he defeated the Snow Woman? She thought he might be stalling the ghost, to buy time for her to get help, minimizing the impact of the ghost's presence. Caught up in her imagination, she bowed deeply to Huo Zhijun, and ran off without looking back. At this moment, the ghost approached Huo Zhijun, and asked him if she was beautiful. Everyone who has dealt with ghosts knows, you just need to bully her 25 hours a day, and praise her beauty, even if her mouth reaches her ears. You must lie and say she's pretty. She'll fall head over heels for you. But never cheat on her. If she finds out you're seeing another ghost, she won't hesitate to eat the other ghost, cut out your kidneys, and turn you into a doll, to keep by her side forever. At this moment, the ghost asked Huo Zhijun, "Am I pretty?" Before she could finish her sentence, Huo Zhijun covered her mouth. "I know you're in a hurry, but don't rush. Let me rush first, because if you rush it's useless. But if I rush, it's because, young lady, do you have a sanitary pad?" The ghost was utterly dumbfounded by his words. She was a ghost. Where would she get sanitary pads? Besides, ghosts don't have periods. But when she saw the class president, she realized the president was an excellent vessel. Great figure, beautiful face. What more could she want? At this moment, the ghost already in the class president's body grew angry. "Who are you? Can't you see this body is already mine?" The slit-mouthed ghost scoffed, removed her mask, and terrified the other ghost into trembling. Before she could react, the slit-mouthed ghost opened her massive mouth and devoured her. Huo Zhijun, unaware of what had happened, assumed the ghost was a Yuri fanatic. "Pervert," he shouted. "Kissing is one thing, but licking your lips afterward? You Japanese are on another level of perversion." Fuming, he prepared to punch the pervert. But the slit-mouthed ghost suddenly opened her abyssal mouth, asking Huo Zhijun, "Am I pretty?" This left Huo Zhijun momentarily speechless. In his mind he thought, "With a face like that, do you even need to ask? I'm about to throw up. Stop ruining the scenery." But he knew better than to say it out loud, fearing it might hurt her self-esteem. People who ask, "Am I pretty?" often are outwardly insecure, and deeply hurt by past malice. They desperately seek validation from others. Even in the summer heat she wore a mask, so she wouldn't scare people walking at night. She was so kind, This realization moved him deeply, bringing him to tears. The ghost, however, was utterly confused. Seeing him not respond, she didn't care anymore. She opened her abyssal mouth ready to eat him. But Huo Zhijun suddenly cupped her face and said tenderly, "You're absolutely beautiful. Without the mask you're even more stunning." This left the ghost even more bewildered. Am I really beautiful like this? Or is this guy just a pervert? Does he actually like this creepy aesthetic? For a moment the ghost hesitated. She hesitated, unsure whether to act. It was all because this guy didn't follow the usual script. "Yes," he said. "You're beautiful, the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Your features are perfectly proportioned. Your skin is flawless. And your eyes have an amazing color. And your mouth. I know you might feel insecure, but it's actually so unique. It's as red as a ripe autumn apple, radiating the joy of a bountiful harvest. And your teeth, they're so healthy, straight and sharp. You must take great care of them." Under Huo Zhijun's stream of compliments, the ghost began to fall into his trap. "Is this true?" Huo Zhijun immediately replied, "Do I look like a liar?" At this the ghost was completely smitten, losing herself in fantasies of happiness. She even forgot she came here to devour him. By now the ghost was utterly captivated by him. For a moment time seemed to freeze. As the saying goes, a man's words can charm even a ghost. Then Huo Zhijun suddenly stood up and said, "Before worrying about appearances, it's more important to exchange names, right? I'm Huo J. What about you?" The ghost looked at him lovingly, just about to say her name, when she suddenly realized, in ghost exorcism there's a secret technique. If someone learns a ghost's name they can control her. This is why ghosts never reveal their names lightly. She had almost been fooled. So this man was just like other exorcists, pretending to care for her, only to trap her once she revealed her name. Outraged by what she believed was his trickery, the ghost was furious. "How dare you deceive me? Unforgivable." With that, she opened her massive mouth and lunged at Huo Zhijun. Huo Zhijun froze in shock at the sight. He was just asking her name. Did that really warrant opening her massive mouth to bite him? Did he say something wrong? Suddenly he had a light bulb moment. He almost forgot. This was Japan. Before Japan opened up to the world, women had to adhere to strict societal rules. Even their clothing reflected it. Unlike the class president who broke free of constraints, looking gorgeous in her chosen attire, this ghost, dressed in outdated styles, wearing conservative fabric, looked worse than his grandma shopping for groceries. She was like a country bumpkin in the city. A shabby little mutt. The ghost's massive mouth was about to bite him, but she suddenly stopped. This wasn't satisfying enough. Someone who toyed with her feelings couldn't die so easily. He needed to experience a fate worse than death. So she hugged Huo Zhijun tightly, and whispered in his ear, "I'm going to take your kidneys, and turn you into a doll. You'll stay with me forever." The ghost just wanted to scare him, but the man was fearless. He even dared to mess with ghosts. He removed her mask, and kissed her directly. The ghost blushed, flustered and shy. From that moment she became obsessed with him. She even left her mask as a token of affection. Every night while he slept, she would lie on his chest and lick him. This left him waking up every morning feeling drained. Now she hugged him tightly, ready for more affection. Feeling a little weak, he couldn't resist her advances. So he clasped hands with her, smiling as he said, "I have a gift for you." First he measured her leg length. Then he picked out a pair of black stockings, and tossed her a skirt. As he helped her choose clothes, he explained, "See how well pink and black suit your vibe. It's dangerous yet cute. And now with this we seal the deal."